Hey everyone, Andrea Anderson, Chief Idea Specialist from Your Marketing Machines, and thank you for taking valuable time out of your day today to come and join me in talking about tips to building a brand for your business. Do strap in, this is going to be quite an exciting one for you, in particular if you're looking to want to take a successful brand, like a brand as big as Branson, into the business world. So let's get into it. First and foremost, I'd like to do an acknowledgement to country. We would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land and pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the future, they hold the memories, traditions, culture and hope of all Indigenous Australians. And I thank you for allowing me to do that. So, why have you come to join me today to talk about branding? Well, here's where I'm hoping our aim is going to be for you today. And that is, we want to share with you how to humanize your brand to build connections. Identify ways to elevate your brand so you can sell your products, your services at premium prices. Oh, wouldn't that be great? And the other thing we would like to share with you today is how to outsmart and outpace your competitors. So important for us to do that. So we're just going to dive straight into it with step number one. That's right. Keep it simple, silly. We're going to sell with simplicity because it's so important that we understand if we keep everything simple, people are more likely to actually come in, like, know, and then get to trust you. So first questions I want you to be asking yourself, and this is all about you asking you. And that is, what solution do you actually provide to the market? Okay. Now, the first thing most people say to me is, Andrea, I help. No. That's not what I asked you. I didn't ask who you help. I'm asking you, what's the solution that you're providing to the marketplace? In other words, disregard the kind of audience, but actually look very clearly at the product or service you're bringing to market. What does it actually do? What solution or what problem does it actually forgive or achieve? Okay, real important that you actually understand that. Second question you need to have in the back of your mind when you're looking at building a brand for your business, and that is, why should that person use me? Why should I use you? What is it about your product that's going to help fix my problem? Okay, so real important when you're looking at this, when you're looking at your brand, you want to be able to answer those first questions. Step number two. This is where we find that emotional connection. This is where we find the love. Now, true story, I'm going to be real quick on this one. My husband, bless his little cotton socks, he loves BMWs. Loves BMWs, loves the big Holden, V8 hoofer-doofers. Me, I just want a car that's going to get me from point A to point B. It's got 4 doors so I can get my dog in and out of the back seat real easily without any issues and hassles. And really, I just want to be able to know that I'm going to arrive at my destination safely. Here's what he does, bless his little cotton socks, because we're looking to want to update our car, is he sends me a photo of the car he wants to buy. Now, men, you're probably going, uh-oh, I know where this is going. Women, you're probably going, have I heard this story before? Cut a long story short, he's already connected with the car. He's already seen himself in the car with the sunroof open, going in super sport, speedy, fast mode without me and the dog. So when we're looking at building a brand, what we're looking to want to do is to create that human connection and that emotional connection so that our audience will get to like, know and trust us faster. So important for us to do. So if you're wondering what happened with the BMW, guess what happened? We bought the BMW, all right? But not only does my husband actually have an emotional connection with BMW, regrettably, now so do I, all right? So important, once again, as I said before, human connection, emotional connection at that point in time with your brand is so essential. So when you're looking at that team and you're going, okay, so Andrea, what does that actually mean when you say emotional connection or human connection? Two key things I want you to be aware of with your brand, and these are where we talk about the pain points, and that is, what are the key emotional motivators for people to seek your services? Why are they looking to want to speak to you? And if you tell me that it's, oh, Andrea, it's because we're quality, no, that's not the reason why, because that's what everyone else says. You know, when we're Googling, it's because we're in pain: mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, physiological, financial, business, relational pain. That's why we Google. So you've got to be looking for what's the emotional connection, what's the pain points that our potential audience are feeling, and that's why they're looking for that solution. Second question I'm going to ask you to resonate on when you're talking pain points, and that is, how do you want them to feel after using your service or your product? Do you want them to just go, oh yeah, that was a good meal, meh? Or do you want them to say, oh my Lord, that meal was mind-blowing? Or if they come into your shop and they try on that particular dress or that jacket, do you want them to go, oh yeah, that worked? No, you actually want them to come back in and go, oh my Lord, I cannot believe how fabulous I feel in your clothing. So the key here is, when you're looking at it, we're talking about a personal impact. We're talking about there being an emotional connection. We're talking about being experiential here. So there's 4 key aspects to creating that personal impact that you want people to have with your brand. Step number 1, what is their problem? What's the issue that they're struggling with? Step number 2, or phase number 2, what's your solution? How are you going to fix that problem? Phase number 3, or step number 3, what's going to be the emotional response you want your clients to have with you, to experience with you? And then phase number 4, what's the personal impact that you're going to have on their life? That's what branding is actually all about for your business. So I'm going to just give you a quick example here. Young lass by the name of Belle Lucia. She's an Australian supermodel that happened to be found by chance at the age of 15. What most people don't know about Belle was that when she was found, she was a very pimply face. She had really bad skin, gorgeous eyes, stunning natural big lips, but she was covered in scars and she was covered with massive acne. And she used to feel very subconscious about it and therefore not confident in front of people. That was her problem. Her solution was that she went for laser treatment and skin rejuvenation creams and treatments and the like. That was the solution. Move to phase 3, the emotional result from doing that meant that she was more confident, she got more energized, she had a higher self-value and self-worth because she wasn't so conscious anymore about the quality of her skin or how bad her skin looked. And then if you actually stop and look at her personal impact in her life, well, crazy what actually happened to her. She got picked up as a model. She's now been seen in a multitude of international magazine covers. She's traveled overseas. She has a more visual in her brand. She's become an Instagram icon and has a massive following around the world. All because the brand that she went with identified with her. They could actually help, not only help her, but they provided her with an emotional connection from here on in. And the key here for us is when you're looking at your brand, right, it's more than just the offering of a product and service. It's the experience you want people to have with you when they come on and take on board your solution and your brand. So step number 3, where is the confusion? What's going on? Why is it that some people get it right and some don't? There are some key elements here that we need to be aware of. Continuity and consistency. And if you've listened to any of my presentations before, you'll hear me talk about consistency as the key. Well, it's the same in your branding. Remember, people require between 4 to 7 touch points before they will buy from you. So in some cases, it could be anything up to 15 times of them interacting with you before they actually decide you're the right person for them. And so when you're looking at your touch points, when you're looking at being consistent in your brand and showing up, there are a number of different areas where you can do that. Let's look at your online, for example, your website, your social media platforms, email marketing, your newsletters, advertising banners, email signatures, videos, all need to be consistent in your brand. In an offline scenario, brochures, expo banners, signs, your stationery, your promotional items, all need to be consistent to your brand. In person, when they meet you, it's the uniform you wear, it's your sales consultants, your business development team, having them say the same message. The language, the tone of your voice, the messaging that you're providing, and even your post-sales process. All needs to be consistent around how you want to be perceived and received in the marketplace. Part 2 of this stage is also congruency. Do your images, your colors, your fonts, your tone, your voice, do they represent and engage the desired emotional response that you're looking for? For your marketing machines, our biggest part of our brand is actually a light bulb, believe it or not. And the reason being is that we create ideas to ignite your business. So if you go to my website, you'll see that there's light bulbs all over my websites. If you were to receive a proposal from me, guess what? Light bulbs will be all through the website. In fact, one of the promotional items I give away is a light bulb. So everything about me is about creating those ideas to ignite your business and to keep you engaged and to keep you inspired about your own business. There are so many different brand examples out there that I can recommend for you to go and review, but it's so important that you need to be looking at that consistency, that congruency through your own branding. If you're going to use colors, make sure they're the same colors. For example, on here, your marketing blueprint, guess what? Down here are all my colors. The light bulb I mentioned earlier, there's the light bulb. Everything about my coloring is consistent. There is nothing that goes off color. If you're going to ensure that your brand is memorable, you need to be consistent in the way that you present yourself. Okay, step number 4, let's get personal. Let's really get to understand each other here. And this is where it's about that reconnection with your why. This is where we want to redefine your brand and really understand who you are, what you are, and why you are. So one of the first questions I always ask people when we're talking branding, and I go, tell me what your BHAG is. And people go, my B what? And I go, your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal. If I could give you everything you wanted, what is it that you would want to achieve for your brand? And this could be around certain questions that I always ask for things like, why did you start your business? What was the internal passion, drive, or situation that forced you to go down this pathway? What qualifies you as an expert in your particular field? What are your core values that you're wanting to show through in your brand? And one of the other questions I also ask is, where do you want to take it? What do you want to do with this business? What's its BHAG? And when we're looking at asking those questions, it's because we're wanting not to go into marketing speak, but it's because we want to understand the passion behind the brand. We want to understand what's going to get you up in the middle of the night and drive you to take a brand to market and compete successfully with your competitors. Step number 5, and this is where we actually start to look at establishing that game plan with you. This is, how do you want to be, as I always say to people, perceived and received in the market space. This is where we talk about your MOU, your market of own uniqueness. this is where we ask the questions and we clarify from you, who do you want to be known as? What do you want to be known as? You know, and also on the flip side, how do you not want to be perceived and received in the marketplace? For example, if you say to me, Andrea, I don't want to be the cheapest in town. I don't want to be that person that's known as, oh yeah, go to them because they're really cheap. If that's not what you want to be, then why are you using language like budget, affordable? Because if you don't want to be known as cheap, then why are you using that kind of language? So straight away, there's an inconsistency there. So the key here for us in step number 5 when establishing that plan is we just need to know, how do you want to be remembered? It's almost like when someone says to you, what would you like us to write on your tombstone when you're gone? And it's like, oh geez, it's a bit of a morbid thing to be saying, but it's the truth. How do you want to be known? How do you want to be remembered? Because if I Googled you in 12 months or 1 year or even 5 years' time, what would you like Google to say about you? What would you like to be shown as? What would you like to be presented as? Because when we're looking at developing your marketing blueprint and developing your brand, 3 key things here, folks, that I want us to resonate on. Number 1, define your objectives. You don't need to know what the end result may look like, right? We just need to know, define your objectives for today, tomorrow, next week, and then we can reach towards that vision, knowing that along the way, we're going to have to pivot. Number 2, strategize how to achieve those objectives, those goals, those key things in your life that you desire. And then step number 3, we need to develop a language. Okay, branding is not just about colours, fonts. It's also about the language that we're going to use around you, all right, that speaks to your market. Step number 6, brand identity. This is that visual referent to your brand. This is those images, the colours, the fonts that we use that ties in with the tone of your voice, the messaging that we provide, but also underpins the way that you want to be perceived and received in the market space. And in brand identity development, it's about creating an identity is much easier now that you have built a stronger foundation about your brand, the emotive aspect of your brand. You know, if you think of McDonald's, for example, McDonald's started the moment that Ray Kroc saw the photo on the McDonald brothers wall of one of the first McDonald's that they built with the golden arches. And Ray Kroc said to the brothers, "What is this?" It looked so futuristic. And they said, "Oh, you know, it's just a business it's just an example of a building that we built that's failing." And here's where it begins to shift and change. McDonald brothers, all they saw was a failed business. Ray Kroc saw the vision of the business. He saw an American icon in those golden arches. And even in today's market, since the 1950s, we now see advertising where we don't even see the M anymore. All we see is a packet of French fries, and we know exactly what company that is, okay? But he looked at it and he went, "Oh my Lord, I can see the future just in that particular building," okay? So it's real important. We get what's in here, the vision, the BHAG, we get to understand what that is. So when we're looking at brand identity development, here we're looking at your colour schemes, your typography, the graphic patterns, the images, the style, the logos. And once again, remember, this has got to be consistent so that it fits across all of your marketing platforms, online, offline, and also face-to-face. So one of the things I'm going to encourage you to do, and that is to actually look at setting up a Pinterest board. You're like, "What, Andrea, seriously?" Absolutely. We are visual creatures. It's the reason why people resonate to my light bulb. It's a light bulb, people, but people resonate with it. So one of the things you can do to help you become creative and to start connecting with your brand on an emotional level is set up a Pinterest board. And here's what's really cool. When you set up a Pinterest board, you create a mood board. You go in, you find different imagery that appeals to you, different colors, different kinds of photos, different kind of imagery. You might find that suddenly you love turquoise, or you love teal, or you found a love for things that are golden that you didn't realize. And the beauty about having a mood board is that when you engage a designer to help you create your brand, what they'll do is they'll look at your mood board, and inside the mood board, they'll be able to define the best direction for you. So valuable, because we can see patterns and we see image styles and color schemes that you may never have actually thought about consciously, but yet subconsciously, you love those kind of things. It's from understanding your branding colors that you start to create your logos. And see, this is where people get it wrong. What they normally do is they go, oh, I just need a logo. And they go to freelancer.com, or they go to Fiverr, and guess what? You pay what you get. You get what you pay for. So my encouragement is that if you are going to go down the pathway of branding and having a brand that actually is powerful and appeals, my encouragement is look to engage a designer at some point to help you actually clarify what that may look like. So the next steps for you when you're looking at building your brand, and that is, I want you to go back and review your notes. I want you to review this particular presentation and start to create I guess what I call as an emotional connection with your business. If you have an emotional connection with your business, guess what? That will start to show through not only in the imagery and the colors that you use, but it'll actually show through in the language that you use to describe yourself as well. Plan. Number 2, get the plan. Start planning for this. Start planning your brand. How do you want people to receive you? How do you want people to remember you? Start game planning. And then step number 3, find the team to help you implement. So essential to know that you're not alone in this journey, that more importantly, you've actually got people around who can help you to create the powerful brand that you deserve. So thanks for joining me on tips to building brand for your business, and I wish you all the very best for your future endeavors.